What's up guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to another video. I gotta say I'm super pumped about this one. It is gonna be awesome. I hope you guys like it too. If you remember from a couple of videos ago in the install series, I was actually having a little bit of difficulty installing these nitrous ports in the bottom of the intake manifold. Now, it wasn't anything at all to do with the Sleeper Designs intake manifold. It was specifically due to the fact that both the oil filter and the oil cooler were in the way. Basically, whenever I went and tried to thread these things up in the runner, there really was not enough room to go and put this in there and then also run like the nitrous and the fuel lines, therefore causing a problem. So I didn't wind up installing these yet, obviously, because this one's still here in my hand. However, I did go and post up on Instagram about it a little bit later on, and Taylor had mentioned just deleting the cooler and running it straight off the block. And I'd never heard of that before. I'd never heard anybody doing that. And so I was a little bit apprehensive, you know. However, went through and did a bunch of research online trying to figure out, like, you know, good idea, bad idea, what do other people do, whatever. I didn't find squat at all. So I wound up calling Larry over at Sound Performance and talking to him about it. And he goes and tells me, it's like, yeah, dude, we delete those things all the time. They're a pain in the butt. They leak. Like, the only cars that we go and put coolers on, even in high horsepower applications, is just road race cars. Like, if somebody's road racing, yeah, we'll throw a cooler on it, but otherwise, just throw it in the trash. Cool, awesome. So now that we got that worked out, we got a plan. We're gonna be deleting the oil cooler, relocating the filter, and a couple things I wanna do here. Obviously I have my oil pressure sensor for the Pro EFI. I also wanna go and run an oil temp sensor just so I can go and keep an eye on it, just because I'm kind of paranoid like that when it comes to that kind of stuff. So I was looking around online trying to find something where I could relocate the oil filter and run both sensors. And I found a couple different options. I think PHR made one where you could run a single sensor off of it, but obviously I wanted two, and there weren't any. Consequently, after that, Mark Zuckerberg in his infinite genius started throwing me Instagram ads for this company called Improved Racing. And I gotta say, guys, I really love their stuff. This is not a sponsored video. This isn't like paid advert or anything like that. I paid full pop for this stuff, just like you guys will. And let me just show you guys this stuff. This is awesome. We're just gonna kind of start here and go left to right. This is gonna be the part that goes in threads onto the block. It's a little bit thicker than a hockey puck. It has this awesome seal and stuff on it. And it's got this really, really great texture so that you can go and just tighten that on and off. I'll go ahead and put all these part numbers and stuff in the description below if you guys have any questions or anything like that. Like I said, feel free to shoot me a comment or something like that. I'll be happy to reply to it. So that's that. We got two 10-in fittings. We've also got our little block off port, and then we have one 1/8 MPT sensor port right here. This thing is a pipe thread adapter. I actually got this thing off eBay for about 20 bucks. You do need this to go and thread into the block here, and then the other part goes and threads in right there. I will need to go and cut some of this down. I'll let you guys know exactly how much. This right here is gonna be a threaded block off. I picked this thing up from PHR. This is gonna block off the return port in the side of the block. Coming over here, this is gonna be one of the longer portions of this video. I need to go through and make a bracket to attach this thing. This is gonna be our filter relocation. As you can see, we got our nicely machined, beautifully machined bracket here. One of the cool things about this is that since it does have both these on here like this, you can actually go and do another set of fittings and run an oil cooler on it if you wanted to. This right here is gonna be a plug. And then this is going to be another 1/8 MPT sensor adapter. So I can actually go and run my temp sensor out of here, and then the pressure sensor out of here. In typical 2JZ Addict fashion, we are gonna be making our own oil lines for this. This is a standard 3-piece fitting. If you missed the last video on how to do these, go back and watch it. It's gonna be the exact same process. Nice little 3-piece braided teflon deal. Of course, we got our temp sensor kit. This right here is gonna be the new part number for our oil filters, specifically pertaining to this guy right here. This right here is the NA Hardpipe I was telling you about. Look at how gorgeous that is. This side is gonna go and plug into the back side of the water pump. And then this, as we come over here, this part would normally go and flip up to the heater core. I actually went and blocked off the heater core because mine is leaking and broken and just puffs out little clouds of white smoke, and that's bad. So we are going to be connecting this thing to the backside of the cylinder head with this handy dandy little hose. This is Gates 19193. And basically all this is gonna do is, I'm gonna have to probably cut right about here. And then this is gonna plug into that. And this side is gonna go right down there on the nipple that is currently underneath the plastic bag. For the disassembly portion of this video, I'm really not gonna go into too much crazy detail. Honestly, it is super duper simple. If you guys have just kind of even basic fundamental mechanical ability, like, you can do it. It is not complicated at all. There's only two things you need to remove in this entire removal process. The first one is gonna be this big ugly thing. Now, this thing only has one attachment point. It is this guy right here. It's a 24mm bolt, and just throw a 1/2" drive socket on it, a breaker bar, this thing will pop right off, easy peasy. The factory cooler is gonna go right here. This bit right here is gonna be a coolant port that we need to block off, and the other part of that coolant port is actually gonna be the factory hard pipe. Now, the factory hard pipe, if you look right down there, you see a couple of nuts that I left on. That is gonna be where the factory hard pipe actually goes and attaches. And on the turbo cars, this thing goes and runs all the way down the passenger side of the block, and then you have an outlet that goes up toward the heater core. Then it's gonna go and run back across the back end of the block, and then forward to about right here on the driver's side of the block, at which point it plugs into right here on the factory oil cooler. Now, the little nipple thing I was telling you about, where you just gotta go and block off the other coolant part, that actually goes and connects to this. That way it has a whole circuit that it flows through. After you're done going and pulling off the factory oil cooler, you basically have 3 different options that you can go and utilize to remove the GTE hard pipe. Option 1 is gonna be to go and remove the intake manifold, the turbo, the exhaust manifold, and then just disconnect the 2 bolts that actually go and hold it on, as well as the 2 nuts that go and connect it to the water pump. And then you can just go and lift this thing, nice little horseshoe shape, straight up and off. Option 2 would be to never put it on in the first place, especially if it's on an engine stand or something like that. It makes it a lot easier, because otherwise you wind up with the motor mount in the way, you really can't go and get to it. Option number 3 is this guy right here. If you watch my other videos, you know that that is in fact going to be the option that we chose. Now, word of caution, if you choose option 3, your hard pipe will end up in about 3 different pieces. Now, at one point, this thing will end up looking in a lot better shape than what this is, but this right here is a part where it goes and connects to the backside of the water pump. Then it goes straight back, crosses over, comes all the way back, and this little nipple here wound up connecting right there. Now, you could ostensibly, if you really wanted to, get by with not removing the GTE hard pipe. You'll basically just have to go and block off both the 2 ports, the one that comes out of the block and then the one that actually goes and comes off the crossover tube. Now, I will tell you guys, just full disclosure, the NA hard pipe is super cheap. Yes, it's a pain in the butt to go and remove the GTE one if it is in the car already and you're lazy like me and you don't want to pull off the exhaust manifold and the turbo. However, this is my receipt. This here's a part number. I'll go ahead and put that in the description below. Right there, 42 bucks is what I paid for this thing. 42 bucks and a little bit of hacksawing is gonna give you a much cleaner look. It's gonna be a lot better. It's gonna give you a lot more access and everything over on the driver's side of the block too, if you need it to go and run things like we do, like fuel lines, etc., etc. That's really gonna go and cover it for the removal portion though. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get to work. I'm just gonna throw you guys on time lapse for a little bit, and I will show you all the finished result here in a little bit. All right, so we went ahead and got our pipe marked off. This thing, it looks like we're gonna have to go and cut down a little bit more than an inch on it. The total length from this end to about here is gonna be about 2.5 inches. So if you guys are looking for one of these, and they got a couple different sizes, like I know Driftmotion has a couple different sizes listed, go for the one that's about 2.5 inches if you go with the Improved Racing plate, and that'll be good. Hey, so real quick, I don't think I covered this in the last video, so sorry about that. I just wanted to give you guys one quick pro tip for measuring lines. The best way to do that is to go and pull the fitting apart on both sides and then measure the difference between the two. That way you have to cut the least. Let me show you what I mean. All right, so if we look right down here, we got our little hockey puck thing. We got one fitting apart and then the other one apart over there. And then basically what you're gonna be looking for is this bit right here. The line should go, if this thing will focus. Anyway, you're gonna wanna measure basically from right here over to the same spot on the other side. And when you do, it winds up looking about like that. I know you probably can't see this too well, but basically what you're looking for is gonna be right about right about there. So then when you put the sleeve in on the end, it just flares it out, and then the threaded nut portion is gonna go right up on there like that. Hopefully that made sense. Trying to do that one-handed while holding the line and moving the flashlight and trying not to bump it over and whatever else is a little bit hard. So if you have any questions, comment section, be happy to answer those. But yeah, basically that's kind of the best way to do it, is to go through and disassemble both sides of the fittings and then just kind of measure the gap between the two, so that when you go and thread the sleeve up on the actual fitting side, that it winds up nice and flush. And there you have it. So this right here is a hockey puck. That's all hooked up. Got the lines coming over here to my super trashy bracket. I'm probably gonna swap that out later. The only reason I didn't put it farther down is because I have the slave cylinder right there. I think I'm probably gonna go and swap that out for a tilting unit and then just move this guy eventually down that way. Then if we come over here, we got our new coolant line hooked up that goes right up here to the back of the cylinder head. And then the new hard pipe goes right underneath the runners all the way to the back of the water pump. In fact, you can actually see, if I can zoom in quick, right there is where it goes and connects to the back of it. So that is going to conclude our install video of the oil cooler delete / filter relocation kit. I cannot recommend the Improved Racing guys enough. Their products are awesome. They're super easy to use and incredibly well made. I'm going to go and put a link to their website in the description below, as well as the part numbers for everything that I used for this stuff. Total install time, including making the lines, looking at about 4 hours just to make the lines of the bracket and everything. And that includes removal and the whole lot. So super easy, definitely not complicated. If you have even a little bit of mechanical ability, I mean, it'll be super easy for you. And it'll get out of the way for the stuff we're gonna be doing a couple videos from now. So, yeah, hope you guys liked it. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up, really appreciate it. Comments or questions or anything like that, leave me a comment in the section below. I'd be happy to go through and answer those for you. Other than that, I will see y'all very soon in the next video. Catch you next time.